process for Europe, what the changes are, what you should focus on in your application, etc. Here's a typical grant, Fulbright. The full grant is the one where you're proposing to do research for a year and or take some classes. There's the English teaching assistantship, and there's the travel grant, which is, as you can see, only for 2 countries. That means that you have funding from another source, including your own, and you just need help getting there, to Germany or Hungary. There's a couple of special Fulbright programs, and we won't go into a great deal of information about that now, but there's grants available to study language, certain languages that the U.S. government has deemed are important for the U.S., and you can imagine that they're in the national security area, so there's awards for study of certain languages, and actually Teresa Fry has more information about that. There's business grants, Mexico, Spain, internship grant, and actually I'm not going to spend much more time on this because that's constantly changing. Sometimes they disappear, sometimes they appear. And this year they're still working out what's available. Here's the full grant. I have to say that if maybe about 50% of our applicants go for the full grant. As you can see, it's not, you can read it up there. And what we do is we provide technical assistance essentially to help you shape a competitive proposal. You're essentially putting together a proposal to do research, and we help you put together something that's going to be competitive. The English teaching assistantship, you can see it in front of you. You're generally in a classroom generally at the secondary level or the college level. And you're not teaching on your own, you're an assistant. And you're working with a teacher and you're teaching, sometimes people maybe not that much younger than you, you're teaching English. And you also design, in your application, you put forward an idea for how you might work with the community on a project that would benefit the community wherever you're placed. And I'll just, when it comes to applying for the full grant, the research grant, you do get to specify where you want to go in a certain country and perhaps a certain city because it's necessary for your research. With teaching assistantships, I believe, you choose the country, but you don't know where you will end up within that country. Could be in the middle of nowhere or in the middle of a big city. That's kind of the gamble you take. And here's more information about the Critical Language Enhancement Initiative. And again, all of this is on the website. And this is a grant that has been available over the last 2 or 3 years with a focus on international contemporary or popular music as a cultural force of expression. The timeline for it is a little different. So if you're interested in this, we'll work with you to be on top of the timeline and putting together. We've only had 1 applicant for this who was not that successful with it.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
The entire process is odd, so we'll talk about that. If anybody wants to go do this cultural music stuff, we'll talk to them separately. It's not the mainstream.
Okay, here are your grant benefits. You get one airplane ticket round trip, so if you want to come back at a different point in time, you have to pay for that yourself. You get a monthly stipend, health insurance, and then you can see there's other benefits. And at some point, you might be interested to know that you're either paid in the local money or in US dollars. It depends on how Fulbright is administered in that particular country. Just FYI. Here are the application components. Now this is a PowerPoint that IIE puts out that has not been updated to reflect that everything is now online. But generally speaking, these are the components of the application. There's a lengthy application form. You'll have to make a statement of your grant purpose, a personal statement that tells the committee and people here at the university about you. You'll have to get references, transcripts which our office helps you get, so you don't have to pay or deal with that. And if you're going to need a language, you'll need to have language evaluation, which you can have done here at PACE. And if you're going to do research in another country, you actually have to arrange for an affiliation with an institution, an appropriate institution in that country. And we help you find someone either here at PACE or abroad, based on who we know, mostly through faculty, who will help you link up either with a university or a nonprofit or whatever kind of organization that's related to the type of research you want to do. But this is something that takes a long time because it's something you have to get from that country sent to you on letterhead. And so that's why we're having this session now, even though the application is not due till October. You need to be thinking about what you want to do, and then you have to start corresponding with someone in the other country to secure this affiliation. Thankfully, it is now PDF. It does not have to be paper, which is a problem, waiting for this letter to arrive. So now it can be emailed, which is fabulous, but it still has to be on letterhead from someone who has the permission to do this. You know, it's not easy. Now, for those people who are going to apply to do research in creative and performing arts, it's a little bit different. I mean, most of the components are the same, but you also will be submitting portfolio material, as all indicated there, and that's not electronic, so we have to keep that in mind when we're working with you on that. And again, all of this with lots more details, including, for instance, the personal statement. On the website, it actually tells you a lot more about what should be in the personal statement. I'm not going into that right now. Again, go to the website to find out how to apply. And you have to apply through the institution that you're currently enrolled in. And if you've transferred from another institution, we're not going to have to worry about your transcripts this year unless you earned an associate's degree. Then we're going to have to get your transcript from that other institution. If you're a graduate student, we'll have to get your undergraduate transcript and make sure that that's part of your package. And here's the process. I'm not going to spend time on this. I just want to give you an overview about how it works here at PACE. This is something that you'll find on the website, though, that these are the things you should be thinking about when you're starting to formulate some ideas about what you might want to do. One of the things that the Fulbright evaluators look at is if your project is feasible. Are you going to be able to have the resources to do this research in that country? Do you have the time? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the skills? And the person who's writing an affiliation letter might also speak to whether they think you're going to be able to complete this project. Do you have the language? Do you know the culture? Do you know the country? You can't just choose a random country and say, I want to go there. You're going to have to show that you need to be in that country in order to do your research. And then what do you come to this application with that shows that you have the ability to do what you propose to do? And we work with you on shaping this so that you put forward an application that's strong. Here we go, online application. And here's the process. So under campus deadline, I just want you to pay attention to that. You have material that spells out the application timeline internally at PACE. There's a final deadline for you to submit your application online. But we have some internal deadlines because we have to evaluate every application before it gets finally submitted. And we also check every single crossed T and dotted I to make sure that you made no mistakes, because they'll reject an application even for a little teeny mistake. We look at every proposal to make sure that it's strong, that there's no grammatical errors. And so that's why we have internal deadlines, including